Whipple Family Misadventures Book 7, Mischief in Their Eyes, Chapter 12. Silver didn't know how old the woman was, but she looked old. Human ages were so confusing, and he didn't know much about how it worked, but she just had that look that she had seen a lot. Her long dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail and had glasses balancing on her nose.
I got the workers packing the truck.
Excellent. We are almost ready to go either way. Let's go. There's a lot of people waiting for the four of you.
We are not going with you.
Again, didn't ask. Now you all come nicely, or we can do it the difficult way, but it will be far more unpleasant if I have to use force. She knows. Tell them the rules.
No, not anymore. I hate your stupid rules.
That alone seemed to transform him into someone else. Someone angry. Someone who looked like they wanted to be mean and hurtful.
Alright, if that's how you want to play this game, then we'll play this game. Wait, where's the third one? There were three of you. Where's the black and red one?
Shadow frowned, unsure how the man had known that. Somehow this guy must have seen the three of them come into the room when they originally did. He had no idea how. None of them had seen or heard him.
Huh?
Don't play dumb with me. Where is he?
Silver glanced towards Sonic and Andia coming, trying to signal him. Shadow was safe somewhere else, and this jerk and his jerk lady friend didn't need to know he would be back soon with either of their dads to help them. They especially didn't need to know that he wasn't hiding somewhere waiting to pounce or use some trick to help them escape.
I don't know what you're talking about, but we're leaving now. Let us walk out this door and we'll go nicely and we won't kick your butts on the way out.
The man's face darkened as he lowered his head as his hands turned into fists.
Where is he? There was three of you. Come out now. No more hiding.
There it is. 1, 2, 3. You know how to count, right?
It's okay if you don't know how to count. We could teach you. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it.
Amy only looked confused as she looked around the room hurriedly and then back towards them.
There was only 2 of them in there. I didn't see a third black and red one.
Let's try this again, the lady said and took out a tiny metal object and held it up to her lips. Right away, all 3 hedgehogs cringed, clapping their heads tightly over their ears as a loud, extremely painful shrill sound cut through the air, one that didn't seem to affect either human. Amy dropped her hammer as Silver dropped out of the air. Silver hadn't recovered from the horrible sound when a pair of hands grabbed Amy and held her up in the air, dangling above their heads. Another strange human.
Let me go.
Without her hammer, it was clear that she couldn't do a lot. She thrashed wildly but remained in the prison's grip. Crossing his arms, the man smirked at the 2 of them.
Hold it.
He said as Silver heaved several items into the air, and Sonic had crouched down close to attacking the man, pointed.
You both go to the back of the room and sit against the back wall and don't do anything. She'll be fine.
Don't hurt her!
Listen to me and I won't have to.
He retorted, putting his hand on Amy's shoulder and squeezed, making her wince. Sonic reached out and grabbed Silver by the wrist, tugging it backwards away from them. When Silver looked toward him in shock, his friend just kept pulling him back.
Just listen to them for now.
The man's eyes narrowed.
Sit against the wall while we finish packing now.
Slowly, they obeyed.
Good. But to be safe, take her to the truck now. We'll take them last.
Amy howled in displeasure, but was carried out of the room all the same. A handful of people dressed in black and white uniforms came in, each picking up items and carrying them out of the room. The worst part was because they came in and out so often, the door to the room was left open. It would have been extremely easy for Silver to just toss or freeze any person in place, while Sonic and him stepped out of the room. The open door made everything more tempting. But then, those people might do something to Amy in return before they got to her. Next to him, Sonic kept shifting in place, a pained expression on his face, as if he was thinking the same thing. Carefully, Silver nudged the blue hedgehog.
You know how our dad said we have to hide because not everyone would be nice like they are back home?
Yeah?
I get it now.
Hey, stop talking.
The lady in pink came back to watch the two of them, one hand on the horrible whistle around her neck. It only made Silver want to grab it and hurl it out the window. She openly stared at him like she had never seen anything like him before.
So, what kind of freak are you? What was that floating thing earlier?
Instantly, Silver felt like a bucket of icy water had been dumped on him. It was exactly like he was 7 years old again, back when the first time he showed anyone else that he had psychokinesis, and they all reacted like he had a disease. Swallowing, he hung his head so he didn't have to look at her terrible face anymore. Sonic jumped to his feet, a rare look of anger written across his features.
He's not a freak.
Barely listening, Silver hugged his arms to his chest, hoping none of the humans noticed how much that hurt. He had been called enough names to last a lifetime, and didn't want some mean, cruel humans that he didn't even know doing it as well.
Sit down.
The lady ordered, holding up the whistle threateningly.
Actually, that's the last of it. We're ready for them. Time to go.
The leader announced, coming to stand over the two of them. Casting a sideways glance at his friend, Silver didn't know what else to do and slowly stood up.
Now, you two might get a fun idea of pitching a fit once we're out here, letting other people know about you. But be aware of something first. If anyone else, especially the hotel staff, learns about you weird alien things, they'll call for the police and government agents to come deal with you. And I promise that will be much, much worse than just coming with me.
Sonic paled considerably.
The man in black?
Exactly. So if you want to stay out of a lab and not be turned into lunch meat, I suggest you two stay very, very quiet.
Gulping, Silver closed his eyes as someone tossed a towel over him, and he was lifted off his feet, carried out of the room. This was it. The horrible part was that he had the means to easily break away and escape. But that meant that Amy would still be taken, and the people in the hotel would see them. He had the ability to rescue himself, but would have to face severe consequences of doing so if he did. Curling into a ball, Silver wished more than anything to go back to his dad, even if he was super angry, even if Wade yelled at him for an entire hour and grounded him for a year. Because eventually, he would calm down and wouldn't be so angry forever. Wade would hold the two of them and tell him in shadow how much he loved them. For the first time, Silver wondered if Shadow had gone for help or if something else had happened to him. The person carrying him was walking, each footstep like a drum, closer and closer to a horrible fate, when out of nowhere, a hand reached out and grabbed him by the arm and yanked him clean out of the man's hands. Silver didn't even have time to yell, as the world became a blur and he realized it had been Sonic who did that. Just as fast, he realized everything spun around him.
What did you?
He said, trying to make his vision stabilize.
Silver? Sonic?
When Silver looked up, they were inside the laundry room again, and he was looking at Tom. Sonic must have seen his dad and made a quick decision to get them back to him.
Where have you two been? I've been...
Behind them, the door banged open, and the horrible man was there, with the others behind him, his expression drawn into a tight line.
Step away from those animals. They're dangerous and might harm you. We need to remove them from the building at once.
Tom stepped in front of them, his eyes quickly scanning over what was happening.
You're not taking them anywhere.
They're mine.
I don't think so. My wife and I are currently in the process of adopting this one. And while my wife is wonderful and a kind woman, she will chase you down to the ends of the earth if you try to take her son from her. Not to mention what I'll do for my son. And the gray one belongs to my friend. They're both coming with me.
The man's hands curled into fists.
I don't think.
Tom's gaze snapped around the room quickly, looking at one of the people behind the leader.
Also, I can't help but notice what you've got there. If I'm not mistaken, that looks like ivory, and it's illegal to have in your possession. And that's just what I see right now, with a quick glance. Imagine what a closer look into your activities might uncover and find.
The man narrowed his eyes, glaring at him, his lips pulled back in a soundless snarl. Tom didn't even flinch.
Do have to say, I like your bravery in deciding to commit crimes the very same weekend. Nearly the entire police force of Montana is not only here, but here at the hotel. That sure takes a lot of guts. Not sure if it's bravery on your end or just being stupid.
Wrapping one arm around Tom's leg, Silver peered out at them, wondering if they would just leave on their own or if something worse would happen.
Fine, take the animals. We don't need them anyway. Just take them and leave.
I was planning on it.
Tom said flatly, never taking his eyes from any of the other humans in the room.
Now get out of my sight before I change my mind about reporting you to the hotel and the police.
Thankfully, they finally left.
Oh, you guys alright?
Leaning down, Tom put his hand on Sonic's head.
Dude, you gotta stop scaring me like this. I don't want to go completely gray or bald before I turn 50.
He ruffled Sonic's ears and then looked towards Silver.
Let's get you two back upstairs. Your dad is worried himself sick about you.
That alone was enough to make Silver feel guilty, but he nodded.
Is he mad?
He's not happy, and neither am I about this. We're going to be discussing a few things once we get back upstairs. Come on, bud.
First, there's just one thing.
What is it?
They have someone else. We have to save her. Her name's Amy. She's a hedgehog like us. They took her out to their truck. We promised she could come with us to get away from them.
Silver said, gazing up at Tom with big, pleading eyes. He didn't know what they would do if Tom said no, because they couldn't leave her behind. Tom looked toward the door and then back at them, and then the door again.
Are you sure?
The two of them nodded in unison.
Alright, the two of you back upstairs, back to Wade where it's safe. I'll go get her.
She doesn't know you or that you're his dad.
Okay, fine. You come with me, Blueberry, upstairs and be quick about it.
Silver could hardly believe his luck that he wasn't being sent away but actually got to do something. Next to him, Sonic's eyes got massive with disbelief.
I have to go upstairs, but he gets to help? But he's never even...
Because I know you can get up to the room in less than 3 seconds without being seen. He can't. So he's helping me. Go tell Wade, we'll be there in a minute.
Fine. This is so lame.
He muttered but disappeared in a gust of wind. Tom had a grim look on his face.
He said their trunk was outside?
That's what they said.
Reaching down, Tom picked him up.
Then we better hurry. Let's just hope they haven't left yet.
Jogging, he left the laundry room and kept going to the end of the hallway, slipping out to an side exit door. That was a horrible thought, one that Silver didn't even want to think about. The three of them might have been safe, but Amy wasn't, and she deserved to be as well. Not be sent off to some faraway place like Seattle, being kept by that horrible man.
If they already left, can we go after them?
Well, we'll see what we can do.
Outside behind the back of the hotel in the parking lot, a massive truck was waiting, while several people were loading boxes in the back hurriedly, all while the lady in pink was watching them. Tom squared his shoulders and marched straight up to her, setting Silver down behind him.
Where's the little girl? You are giving her to me as well. Now.
I don't.
Tom made a show of craning his neck to peer around the edge of the truck.
I have your license plate now. And if you had illegal items before, I would bet there's more inside this truck. I'm sure there's plenty of my police officer friends who would enjoy taking a closer look.
He said, using his free hand to take out his phone.
Are you blackmailing me?
I thought you would have figured it out. Yes. Also, I'm expected back inside in about 3 minutes. So if I'm not there, someone is gonna come looking for me and will find all of this.
He just stared back and Silver grinned under his hood. He knew Tom was smart, but that was really smart, especially for something he had to think up in just a few seconds.
Now I'll ask you only one more time. Where's the girl?
Open the side door for him.
As soon as the side door was open, Tom nudged Silver.
Go get your friend.
Another time, Silver would have pointed out that he only had known her for a few minutes, but decided now was not the time, peering into the back seat of the van.
Amy?
There was a sniff, and then her green eyes were looking back at him, her muzzle stained with tears. Obviously, she had thought she had been abandoned.
Silver? You came back.
Yeah, of course. We promised you could come with us.
He felt Tom come up behind him, and Amy shrank back.
Don't worry, he's Sonic's dad. He's kind of my uncle, right?
Yeah, of course, buddy.
Amy was standing up against her seat, her face pale, clutching the hem of her dress in both hands, unmoving, and watching Tom with a worried expression.
You never told me his dad was a human.
My dad's a human too.
Tom slowly looked her over.
And that makes 4. Alright, come on, you two. We gotta get you both back inside.
Silver allowed himself to be picked up, but she didn't move from her position or make any attempt to come closer.
I won't hurt you. I promise.
It's okay.
Silver coaxed and smiled when she finally crept out, and Tom picked her up with his other arm.
Oh, by the way, I changed my mind. I actually already contacted some colleagues of mine and informed them about your smuggling. They'll be here any minute.
But you said...
You don't mess with my kid. I am a police officer and the wrong person to try to steal from. I might not be able to personally arrest you because I don't have justification here in Helena, but I have plenty of colleagues who will be more than happy to.
We'll tell everyone you had those creatures then.
Psh, go ahead. You don't know my name. You don't know their names or where I live. Some police officer with brown hair has these weird alien creatures. If anyone even believes you, that description won't narrow it down in the slightest. There might have been some stuff I could have ignored, but then you decided to threaten those kids, officially taking it too far.
Without warning, both the man and woman made a dash around the side of the vehicle and pushed their way past Tom. He didn't even make an attempt to try and block them, just let them go.
Run all you want, it won't help you. Let's get back inside. We have a lot to tell your dad, Silver.
Wade wasn't sure what to do. When he was sure Shadow was deeply asleep, he had very carefully untangled himself and tucked him into the bed, making sure the little black hedgehog was warm and comfortable. His next instinct was to go out and keep looking for Silver and Sonic, but he still wasn't sure if he should go help Tom or not, especially after what had happened. Something had happened, to the point that it had rendered his son unable to speak, stressed out to the point that he had been crying softly, even in his sleep. Wade didn't want to leave him in case he woke up again. A few minutes later, his phone buzzed with a text from Tom, saying that he had found them and would be back up shortly. Wade sighed with relief and sat back down to wait. He didn't know if he was going to be furious with Silver when Tom got him back upstairs, or just extremely relieved that they were okay and hadn't been found out by anyone else. All he had to do was stay calm, listen to whatever scheme the three of them had cooked up when bored of why they had to sneak out. And then all 3 of them were going to get a massive lecture and more severe consequences for not listening yet again. Wade sighed. Staying calm was easier said than done with those kids. He hoped the rest of the afternoon, evening, and what little they had to do the next day would go quickly, as he couldn't wait to get back home. The stress of being here, of knowing the kids were not safe, of them pushing every limit and boundary as often as they could, was starting to really get to him. He just wanted to go home so he could relax and do it as soon as possible. After what seemed like a very long time, how long did it take to get the 2 of them upstairs? There was a knock on the door, and as soon as Wade got up to answer it, only to find that just Sonic was there. Wade did a double take and then quickly looked down the hallway, not understanding why he was alone.
Sonic, where's your dad? Where's Silver?
The blue hedgehog zipped into the room.
They're on their way. Did Shadow get back up here?
He did. But don't wake him up, although it won't take much for that to happen.
Oh, good. That he's here, not waking him up. He wasn't doing so hot for a moment. I'm glad he's alright.
Sonic helped himself to a banana and started to peel it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it in a minute. Why are you alone?
They had to rescue someone first, but they're coming.
Blinking, Wade could barely believe his ears, honestly not knowing which question he wanted to ask first.
Rescue someone? What? Why did he need Silver for that? What were you guys doing?
Behind them, Shadow groaned loudly. Sonic winced.
Are you sure you want to hear the story now? My dad doesn't even know everything, and it would be nice to have to not repeat everything, especially with them not there. But we weren't looking for trouble, honest.
Fine, alright.
A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door, and as soon as Sonic opened it, Tom pushed the door open with his shoulder.
Heard you're missing a kid?
He said cheerfully, his arms full of hedgehog before Silver jumped down. Wade felt the deep and powerful relief rush through him as he stretched out his arms and Silver ran into them, cuddling the little hedgehog against his chest.
Where have you been? I've been so worried. You young man, you know you were not supposed to leave this room, especially after what happened on Thursday. Tom and I were worried sick about the three of you. Don't ever disobey me like that again. I'm so glad you're alright.
He still was not okay with what had happened and knew there was going to be a long discussion and lecture in both of his son's future, but at the moment was just extremely relieved that both of them were safe. In his arms, Silver wiggled impatiently.
We had to leave, really. We didn't want to, but we had to. We weren't doing it to be bad, though.
Wade stopped and sat him back down, frowning at him.
You had to? Why?
Out of the corner of his eyes, he noticed Shadow reach for a pillow and put it over his head, burrowing deeper under the blanket to attempt to block out the noise they were making. Near the door, Tom cleared his throat, and when Wade looked toward him, he noticed someone that he hadn't seen a moment ago, a small pink hedgehog girl at Tom's feet, hovering nervously, watching all of them.
So we need to talk because something happened, and if it's not currently going on, there will be an arrest downstairs very soon.
Wade could only stare in disbelief.